I may be laughing now, but yesterday seemed like no laughing matter. Although many things. Oh, hi, I'm Steve. At least that's the name they gave me this time around. And seems okay. I don't have any objections to it. For 19 years, I was called Roy because Roy's my middle name. And I went to a Catholic school, and sometime around when I was born, which was 1951, there was a whole bunch of us born. And that parents felt like Steve was the best name. And so in my first grade class, there were 7 of us Steves. And so they went around, they said, you're going to be called Steve, you're going to be called Stephen, um, you know, you're going to be Steve C. You're going to be Steve. The other one, there was 2 Steve C's. One was Steve Calabato, who actually sometimes watches my videos. We're still friends after, like, oh, 65 years, I guess, because in first grade we would have been, you know, 6 years old, and now he's not 73 until June. I was 73 in January. I was 6 months older than him. That gave me a great advantage in the relationship. I mean, when you're young and you're 6 months older, you're a lot older. You're a half a year older. So, and he didn't have older brothers. He was the firstborn, and I had 2 older brothers and an older sister, and so they they wanted to teach me the ropes from a very young age, and so I passed those ropes on to Steve, who, so when they ran out of Steves, Steve M, it just wasn't going to work. They said, "What's your middle name?" I said, "Roy." They said, "Okay, you're Roy." And so I was Roy for 19 years, which, I kind of liked. It was kind of a cowboy name, and I kind of like cowboys. Um, when I would play cowboys and Indians, so I'd always play the Indian. So there, maybe, Stephen, I believe, was the first martyr for Christ. I mean, I don't know who made that up. I mean, people did kill him, and maybe he was a Christian, and so he died for Christ, but he died because he upset a lot of people, and so they stoned him probably. That's maybe why I spent a period of time. I was going to say period of time, which that was a Freudian mistake, but I spent a period of time getting stoned in my teenage years, and that may have been because I was clearing the the energy of being named after a martyr. I perceived that was an appropriate name for me. I felt like I wasn't a martyr for Christ necessarily. I was a martyr for humanity, maybe kind of taking on like the whole consciousness that a father would, like the God the Father would send his dearest child to earth, and if God the Father, according to Catholicism. So this is just one of the religions that, like, I was forced to have a meal of when I was younger. So God the Father knows that this is the teaching. This isn't my perception. God the Father knows the past, present, and future, and knowingly send his son to suffer to that degree. This would not be a father I would choose personally for myself. Like, even though I feel like I did choose to come here during this time. So there's a relationship, and that being who I know and think of as Christ. You may know him as he's been many, I think he's been many beings, and has a whole history of who he's been. But I still think of him as Christ. When I call him the Christ consciousness, it's that being, and that being's not concerned that I call him, Isaiah or Christ or Yeshua or whatever. Christ seems good enough. Seems like that light of that being. But anyway, that being's involved in all the healing work that I do, but I would not say that I'm Christian. Definitely would not say that I'm Christian. Nor would I say that I'm pagan. Nor would I say that I'm a Romanophicist, whatever that is. I think spirituality is great. Religion, I question. I mean, I'm of the mind. I'm just giving this lay lecture. It's a monologue. I'm of the mind that the majority of all wars appear to be started by religious groups and continue. So, in terms of my own thought, I think religion is dangerous. Like, especially if you're on the wrong side, like good old Stephen was in the beginning of Christianity. If he was martyred, and I'm pretty sure he was stoned. You can look it up and tell me if I wasn't impeccable with my words, which I always like to hear if I wasn't. I like to hear if I am. I like to be impeccable with my words, and as we all know, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to tell someone if they ask you and to give them the truth from your perspective. It doesn't always make people comfortable. I want to prepare myself because I can see, like a whole bunch of people watched my tarot video from 2 days ago, like I don't know, 580 people. Yeah, it's not 1.3 million yet, but it could be because people are looking. I'm making this up, but I'm making everything up. So everything I say is just what I've made up. What's true is what's true for you. Now, the people in neurolinguistic programming made that up. It's only true if it's true for you. So truth is, say the truth. Well, it's your truth, and if it's true for you, then you can speak it and feel like you're being impeccable with your words because this seems true for me. So if I, so I make my living by doing healing work over the phone with my clients. And my clients have all been referred. So I haven't done any advertising. I'm not really interested. I set up this video channel because I was told to. And you may say, well, who told you to and why did you do it? Well, I have guides, and you have guides. That's my truth. Doesn't need to be your truth, but you have guides. You have been people that have been helping you along in this lifetime. And I've been more aware of them. And you could say, well, the guy is, possibly schizophrenic because he hears voices inside his head. And that might be actually a different diagnosis that they've given people that just have extra skills or skills that they've developed that don't fit within the term sanity. Now, I figured that you're crazy if you can't afford, you know, can't afford a roof over your head or food to eat. Then you may be of this altered consciousness, and people say, "Oh, he's crazy because you're not housed or fed." But if you're housed and fed, then you could be called a mystic or a mistake, or you could be called an eccentric. Because if you have the ability to function in the world, if you're a kind of a functional person, now let's face it, I'm my sun's sign, and I don't know much about astrology, but I do know this is possibly true. Somebody made it up, and it seems kind of accurate. I do know that I'm a Capricorn. Now, the one thing I know about a Capricorn is they're typically functional. Not as functional as some of the others, but they're functional enough. So this may be just like too much information for the tarot reading of the day, which I've already pulled the cards, and I will stop this soon. But I'm preparing for when I have like just really a million people waiting for my next words. Oh, oh, what's he going to say today? And hopefully everything I say in every one of my videos helps at least one of you to get through the day. Because yesterday I needed all the help I could get. And if this makes you kind of doubt my ability to be helpful to you, I will just say this. My earlier videos, I was pretty kind of good when I did the video, like, oh, everything's beautiful in its own way, on some levels. I also spoke the truth about, like, what I was working with energy. I'm an energy healer. It's not so easy, although I love it. So if you love it, you're going to get better at it because you're loving it. So I'm just preparing for the future where people will be clamoring at my doors to advertise the product. So here's a product I'm going to possibly advertise. If AI will take my words and get it to this company and tell them I'd be a really good person for them to advertise their products, it would be, okay, listen up, AI. It would be Siddha Remedies. Just the title. Isn't that great? Okay. And this particular one, my wife picked up at the store for me during a period of time when I was going through, and this was just like, 6 months ago, where I was going through a very difficult process of detox. Now, the detox was coming out on a physical level. Things were just coming out. I won't go into any detail. I promise you that'd just be me. But the word detox, kind of, if you've done detox, you go, oh, like the flu? Yeah, like the flu. Exactly. And I was told, because I have these voices in my head that have really nice sounds to their voice, and I was told that it was a physical detox, but it was related to an emotional detox. So I had mentioned this to my wife. My wife is at the store and she saw this product called Emotional Detox. And it's actually a little spray. So I used it for, and we want to make sure you can see it, have it be sitting there. And it's color coordinated with the lamp. These are, branding. I'm Brandy. I'm Brandy right now. I'm not Steve, I'm Brandy. Okay, so where are we going? Who knows? This is unrehearsed. And one of the things you realize, like, not one of these has been rehearsed. The only rehearsal is sometimes I actually read the page on the card that I've drawn. And I used to do my tarot readings past, present, and the future. And they're still kind of done that way. But I've changed it to the wording, these are the energies we've been working with, which we can refer to as the past, but the past, present, and future are all now. So these are the energies we've been working with. These are the energies we are working with. And these are the energies maybe that will come into as a result of the work we've done in that past and present, will come into this new state in the future, or by working with the past, present, we're now working with this state in the future. And seeing that I don't have the cat in the room because of yesterday's fiasco, I just, I always like put her outside the house or put her somewhere where she can't get to me, because we're really like this. We're twins. She's just a part of my soul that just, came back in a cat, I think 5 years ago. After my little kitty died. We won't even get into that because I have to be going like, when the little kitty died, I only had her for 2 months. And she was maybe 4 weeks old, maybe a month when we got her, 4 or 5 weeks old. And she was a tailless cat, Manx. And it turns out that those, if they don't have a bit of a stub, like they got to have at least half to 1 inch of tail for their physical systems to function. And if they don't have that, if they just have the tail, no tail at all, then their neurological systems don't work. So they don't have control of their bladder, or their bowels, which could some people could see as a problem. But if you really and our parents may be that way, I may be there that way, and I'm not going to put this into the future, but it's possible. We have parents that couldn't control their bladder or their bowels at a certain point. And so, in a little kitten, though, this little kitten, I've got pictures. Someday I'll pull my pictures out of the computer and show you this kitten. But that kitten lasted 2 months, and it were the best 2 months of my life. I mean, I've had good months, I've had good days and stuff since she passed away. But for that 2 months, there was nothing that had ever been as good as that for me in terms of my heart opening. And then she lasted 2 months, and then she just, her system just couldn't work, and she left. It was devastating. If you get a chance and you're feeling like you got deep emotions to release, you can use Siddha remedies. It says right on it, emotional detox. And if you believe that strong enough, it will be that for you. Because a lot of what we experience has to do with our beliefs. I came here to suffer. I was named after a martyr. Whoops. Have a good time. All right. But he did become a saint. So maybe I'll Saint Stephen 2, 2.0. So I'll be Saint Stephen 2.0. It's like the upgrade of the Stephen. That was the downgrade through the rocks, you know. I did tell that story about getting hit in the ear, and I'll be over it. I was 12, so it was only 60 years ago that it occurred. And that's Columbato. I don't know if he was even there by then, because no, by then he had switched schools. He had gone to the mildly higher class Catholic school that we played baseball in. We beat him. And he probably remembers he was playing shortstop because he had a stronger arm than I did. So I was playing second base. But to break up the double play, and I apologize for this, S. He's S now. I apologize to you, S, officially on the internet. I don't know if you even remember, but it was a shortstop. I was on first base. Person hit the ball, I think maybe the second baseman. The second baseman was throwing it to the shortstop, and then if the shortstop threw it to the first baseman, they could have made a double play. And I just had a lot of personal resentment towards S about nothing he did, but just like the fact his parents moved away from the neighborhood and left me alone with my family, which was like just they were characters. They're an interesting group of characters. So anyway, when I came into second place, I said, "Oh, I need to break up the double play." So I basically dropped my shoulder and lifted it up as I came into S's chest, and basically put him on his butt to break up the double play. So everybody had to accept that, well, that's baseball. You could take the person who is your best friend for the first 12 years of your life, and you can basically lay them out because, well, sports are kind of like war. The winner takes all or whatever. That war is such a giant sport, and I just choose not to participate in it. That's just me. All right, peace out, and now must go, and then we'll just get this started again and carry on with the actual tarot reading. So I may just jump right in. This is we'll call this pre-tarot, and then the other one, once it's made, we'll call it post-tarot, and then all be Tiros, which is hero, tarot heroes, Tareros, Tareros. So all be Tareros. All right, be creative. Stay true to yourself. To thyself be true. I think it was a commandment or something. So just do it if you feel like it. Okay, gone now.